You know that feeling when you set a goal, you don't meet it, and you immediately start blaming yourself? Well, what if that whole idea of personal failure is actually based on a lie? Today, we're going to dig into why willpower might just be the wrong tool for the job, and what's really driving our behavior. We've all been there, right? You miss a workout, you break a diet, you put off a big project, and the first place your mind goes is, there's something wrong with me. We see it as a personal, almost moral failing. But what if that entire way of thinking is just wrong? What if failing has nothing to do with you being lazy or weak? According to the thinking we're exploring today, that self-blame is built on a huge misunderstanding. All right, so let's get right into this first big idea, the willpower lie. This is the assumption that we can fix these really complex behavioral problems just by gritting our teeth and trying harder. This chart really gets to the core of it. On the left, you have the lie we tell ourselves. I'm lazy, I need more discipline, I just need to try harder. But the truth? It's a system failure. It's biological friction, like when poor sleep makes everything harder. It's behavioral chaos, when your whole routine is working against you. The point is, it's probably not you. It's that the system underneath you just wasn't built to handle the pressure. Think about it this way. We treat our willpower like it's this endless source of strength we can just flex whenever we want. But in reality, it's a pretty fragile tool, and it runs out quickly. We're basically trying to use this one little tool to fight against a huge, powerful system that's running in the background. So what do we even mean by the system? Let's pull back the curtain and look at what's actually running the show. Your behavior isn't happening in a vacuum. It's the output of all these things working together, or against each other. Your appetite, your brain's reward circuits, your sleep quality, stress levels, daily routines, your physical environment, and even your emotional state. They're all like gears in a machine. So what happens when just one of those gears starts to grind? Let's use a really concrete example. Imagine one part of your system starts to go offline. Let's just say you have a few nights of really bad sleep. Well, the direct biological result is that the hormones that control your hunger and fullness go haywire. All of a sudden, you've got stronger cravings and way less control. See? That's not a moral failure. It's a predictable biological chain reaction. One broken piece affects the next. Okay, let's try another one. Say you're going through a period where stress is just through the roof, either at work or at home. What's happening in your brain is that stress actually weakens your prefrontal cortex. That's the rational planning part of your brain. And it gives more power to the primitive, impulsive parts. So, of course, you're more likely to grab for that short-term fix. Again, it's a mechanism. It's not a character flaw. And this all brings us to a super important point. We often think that just knowing what we're supposed to do should be enough, but it's really not that simple. This right here is the question that drives so many of us crazy. You know what to do, you've read the books, you've made the plan, but the action just doesn't happen. So why is there this massive gap between knowing and doing? Here's the key difference. Knowledge is the map. It's knowing where you want to go. But control, that's the vehicle. It's having a system, your sleep, your stress management, your environment, that can actually get you there. You can have a perfect map, but if your vehicle is broken down on the side of the road, you're not going anywhere. And this is actually the most empowering part of this whole idea. It means your struggles aren't just random chaos. They have a structure. And if something has a structure, a mechanism, it can be taken apart, it can be understood, and eventually, it can be fixed. So if the problem isn't random, how do we start to figure it out? It really begins with a huge shift in how we think, moving from blame to diagnosis. And that all starts with asking a better question. Instead of our default question, what is wrong with me, which assumes you are the problem, you switch to a diagnostic question. What system failed underneath this behavior? This simple change moves you out of self-blame and into problem-solving mode. You start to look at it like a detective at a crime scene. You're looking for clues, not judging the victim. Because think about it, when you blame yourself, the only solution you can come up with is I'll try harder. And we already know that's not a great strategy. It's a feedback loop that just leads to shame and, ironically, more inaction. But when you can see the mechanism underneath, the poor sleep that led to the cravings, the high stress that made you impulsive, now you can go to work on the real problem. You can stop just running on the hamster wheel and actually start fixing the machine. So how do we make this real? How do we put this into practice? Let's boil it all down to a few clear, actionable takeaways. First, you've got to consciously reframe the question. Just stop asking, what's wrong with me? Second, investigate. Become a scientist of your own behavior. Ask, what collapsed first? Was my sleep off? Was I super stressed? Did my routine fall apart? Find that first domino. And third, put your energy into fixing that part of the system, not trying to magically create more willpower out of thin air. Ultimately, this whole approach isn't about getting hyped up or finding some magic motivation. It's just about getting clarity. It's about calmly looking at the structure of the problem so you can build a real solution that actually lasts. So what part of your system will you investigate first?